Sunday, January the 8th,
Right.
2006.
Right.
And this is Heidi, and I'm interviewing my parents, Helene and Melton Kligman. And I'm only interviewing them not because not because we're going to make a documentary from their lives, or not because we want to tell any dark secrets of their lives, but because we want to remember all the wonderful things that they did, and and they've had such an extraordinary life of love together that I just think it's really important to remember it. Mom, don't.
I made fun of myself.
Okay, you don't have to. I'm going to ask you a lot of funny questions. And
Are we on the picture yet?
yeah, you are. You're on the picture. Actually, I'm probably talking too loud because I'm closer to this microphone than you are. But because this camera is so strong, this is actually, I can't zoom in or zoom out anymore.
Can you delete
See?
any of this?
Yeah, we can delete some later, but I'm not going to.
That's, I mean, like this kibbutzing right
Okay, so you'll have to talk a little bit louder because you're farther away from the camera. But if I move it any closer, I'll be right at your eyeball. So I want to. This is a great shot. Y'all look beautiful. Okay, just kind of set the stage.
Not as pretty as you.
Well, maybe I'll get in the camera for a second. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Can't get between
Okay.
us.
Mom says I'm so beautiful. I'll just get in the camera for 1 second. Okay.
Who's prettier?
Oh, goodness, I am.
All right.
Y'all
This is
both
fun.
good.
This is
Y'all
gonna be
both
this is
good.
gonna be fun. And Mom, most of the questions that I'm gonna ask are gonna be
Nobody's got one of those.
directed to both of y'all. But if Daddy wants to answer it, don't butt in, okay? Dad,
Yeah.
how old are you?
Huh?
How old are you? When were you born? Do you remember?
Yeah, 1921.
That makes you really old.
Melton, you were born in 1929.
1929.
You don't want me to assist?
Yeah, no, you can. You can. Okay.
1929.
Where did you grow up?
In Columbia.
Talk a little bit louder so I make sure.
In Columbia.
Okay.
Let's see. My father had a store on Assembly Street,
Yeah.
and we had a little house on near Assembly Street. Off of it, it would be the
Hampton.
Street. No, not Hampton. There was another street down below.
Okay.
Did you have a house above your store
House
Or is
above
it-
a store.
on Assembly?
No.
I don't think you
No,
did. I mean, because that was kind of common back then, but I don't think y'all did. Where'd you grow up, Mom?
I grew up in Charleston. Y'all know that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's obvious. Okay.
But what street did you grow up on? Because I always keep thinking you grew up on Dunham, and I know you.
No.
But you
we
didn't.
grew
That's
up
just
on
the house.
famous St. Philip Street.
Straight St. Phil.
And famous St. Philip Street is where a Jewish person lived in this ghetto, and a black person lived in this ghetto right next to us, and so on and so forth. And it was such a close-knit area, especially the Jewish people. That we lived there in about 38.
Uh-huh.
38 until I don't know how long.
And you were born in what, 31?
I was born in 31. I was about 9 years
So
old.
you're 2 years younger than Daddy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people from St. Philip Street that lived there, even that long ago, they still are the best friends, and they still have meetings and parties together.
And they still live in Charleston.
And
A lot of them.
some of them do.
They still keep in touch. What did your daddy do? I really don't know much about Grandpa Joe.
My daddy always had a clothing store.
Uh-huh.
And he used to sell raccoon skins. And I'd go to the store and I couldn't believe he'd be selling raccoon skins.
Oh.
Right across the street from the movie theater that we used to go to. And we'd go there every Saturday to watch all the series.
Uh-huh.
Roy Rogers, Buck Jones.
And that was near where you lived or near where Grandpa worked?
No, we lived near there too. Could walk.
Because I remember Grandpa Lewis, and of course Grandma, both grandmas. But what did Grandpa Lewis do on Assembly Street?
my
Yeah.
father?
What kind of store did he have?
Well, let me see. First of all, his sister had a store on. Let's see.
Who was his sister?
Clara.
Clara, right? Okay.
And had a store on what was
Park Street.
Park Street. Yeah, on Park Street. And then my father had a store on Assembly Street, and this was during the Second World War, when a lot of the soldiers were at Fort Jackson, and my father had lots and lots of storage and shoes and pants and sweaters.
Did he sell to soldiers or just
No,
to?
he sold them to soldiers.
How about the
But did he
socks?
sell them to civilians too, or just mostly soldiers? Because they always called it an army dry good or something,
Well,
army
really-
navy store.
No, really, it was to the families and to the people who were going into the wars.
Oh, so it really was
Yeah.
soldiers.
Tell them how they did their socks,
How they did
how they
this,
showed their socks.
how they showed their socks.
Mhm.
They clamp them around.
Did you used to work
They
at this
hung them.
Oh,
All
they
the
hung 'em.
Socks were hanging
on
from-
like a clothesline?
Like a
oh,
clothesline.
yeah.
Dad,
Yeah,
did you
but
ever?
picture
Did you
of-
work at the store? Did you
Oh,
work
yeah, I
when you were
worked
a young boy?
Yes, I worked at the store.
Did you think you were going to be a shopkeeper when you grew up?
No.
How did you get involved in wanting to be a lawyer? That's so different.
Lawyer? Well,
retail.
No, I went to Carolina, and went to the from Carolina. I went to my father's store,
Yeah.
and that's why I got from Carolina football games and
Yeah.
all things like that, and where I went to school, and then so my father had a store, and then it would be my Aunt Esther,
Yeah.
had a
Shoe store.
shoe store.
Not Claire, but Esther.
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 Okay.
And that was about one door from one door.
Wow, so
from
y'all
my
had the whole family
Yeah,
thing going down
yeah.
on that street,
And then-
Park Street.
Esther is Vanessa's great-grandmother.
And that, but if you stand in front of the store,
Uh-huh.
on the left was Esther,
Uh-huh.
and then it was trying to think who was.
On the further down was
some
the
name.
Freedman.
Was
Freedman.
like
Then was the-
was that near like where Mo Levy's is now?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we're-
further down.
Okay.
First, there was the Lifshuses, and
Uh-huh.
then there was the Freedman's
Right.
pawn shop.
The pawn shop, bond and
then there
loan.
was, right, then there was Esther's little
Esther's
shoe store.
Shoe store.
And then there was Melton's father's store, which was triple,
Shoe-
still bigger than anybody else's.
My
And
goodness.
that was, whatever it was next to that, I don't remember.
So
Oh,
your store was the biggest on the
Right.
street? Ooh,
Well, it was
on-
like it was like 2 or 3 stores
big, yeah.
mixed together, and you could walk around.
Did
in
you
that
have a good
store.
relationship with as an only child, did you have a good relationship with your parents?
Oh, yeah.
You were real close to
Yeah,
them?
oh, yeah, no question about that. And,
How about you, Mom? You was the
I was
oldest daughter
trying
of
to turn
3.
it on the corner.
Oh, okay.
Was the Levy store, which is still there.
Yeah, my Levy's,
still in
right.
business and very thriving. Now,
Right.
Did you ask me?
And Florence is still working in the store.
Poo, yeah.
Pooey,
Florence
pooey,
is
thank
still
God.
there. 90.
At least 92 or 3, at least.
Oh, no, older.
More? Goodness.
she doesn't do anything.
But she comes into
But
work.
She comes
But
into
she
work,
goes
somebody
in.
brings her.
That's right.
in a
So, Mom,
car.
did you have a good relationship with your parents? Because you were the oldest daughter of
Absolutely.
3 girls.
Absolutely. They listened to everything I told them to do.
Your parents did? Were your parents strict?
Uh-uh.
Who brought you up? Your mom or
Annie.
Annie? Tell me about Annie.
Annie? Gosh, she was always there. Actually, she came to work for us when Phyllis was born.
Did
and I
she
was
live in
like-
the house, or she just
No,
came?
she lived next door.
Did she really?
She was one of our neighbors, and she lived next door. And if we really wanted her bad, we just yell, Annie!
I mean, how old were you when you had Annie? When you,
oh,
I mean,
I
were you
was
like?
2 years older
were you-
than Phyllis.
Mhm.
So,
You think it was like?
here I'm saying that we lived on St. Philip Street in 38. We lived on St. Philip Street when I was 2 years old.
So you were. I mean, you were born in 31.
Right, so
So
that was 33. And you really can't tell time, it all gets all mixed up.
oh, I know.
And she was just, she cooked and she cleaned and she took care of us and made us look pretty and fixed our hair and put ribbons in our
And what was
hair.
Grandma doing at all this time? Was she playing
cards?
cards?
Uh-huh.
What was she playing?
And
Bridge?
walking, she loved to walk.
Did she play
Loved to walk.
canasta?
She played bridge, canasta, poker. mahjong, and if
Yeah.
anything else was available.
Until
she
the
played.
day she died,
Until the
she
day she
played
died,
bridge. I
bridge.
know. I remember that. Dad, did your parents ever like card games and stuff like Grandma did?
No, I don't think my mother and father did. I think my father played some cards,
You did?
but I don't think my mother did. And then my aunt Clara had a store about 2 blocks down toward the creek area.
Uh-huh.
And it was a store that she had with lots of food and some equipment too.
Yeah.
Different things, and that was her business. And then
And you delete?
and then my father's store was right next door to Esteward,
Yeah.
and that was sort of like a maybe shoes and clothing store.
Dad, were both of your parents born in America? Where were they born?
Let's see, my father was born in Russia, and
Okay.
my mother, I think, was born in the United States. Yeah.
How about you, Mom?
Oh, my daddy was born in Poland, I think, and my mother was born on St. Philip Street.
Isn't that
in
amazing?
America.
So both your fathers were born in Eastern Europe, but both your mothers were born in America.
Mhm.
And you have to think about this. I always loved to go to football games,
Mhm.
really did. And I went to football games, and all of a sudden, I was sitting next to a very beautiful young lady, child.
Now, I didn't get to that question yet.
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. So I won't forget it.
Okay, good.
And,
Okay, so we'll go to the question, how did you meet Mom?
well,
Is that what you're going to answer?
I'm going to a football game.
Okay.
And I think I was with a few boys.
Was this in high school?
Yeah.
Okay, in high school.
And then this beautiful young girl.
Blonde, big
and
smile.
a big smile and everything. And she was there too. And we happened to be sitting next door to each other, close to each other, not next, right together. And then after a week or two, because we were there several times, we started sitting together. And I can remember to this day that one time, after the game, we were sitting right together, and we walked all the way from the football stadium, which is still down near the area where the practice field used to be. It's not,
Over on Rosewood.
Yeah, Rosewood, not there now.
Is that right?
And we walked all the way from the football game to the hotel. And we went to the lobby of the hotel, and we sat down, and we talked, and we talked, and we talked. And I think we set maybe arrangements that maybe we'd go out for lunch one day,
Uh-huh.
something like that. And
But see, I always thought y'all met in AZA and BBG.
No.
It really wasn't AZA and
Now,
BBG.
I like Melton's version.
I love that version. Let me
I
hear
love
your
Melton's
version.
But the truth of the matter was, I was visiting Margie Levinson at that time, Margie Goldstein, and I was there with a friend of mine from Charleston. I think it was Betty Sharp, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
could be.
And Margie was always, a little flirtatious, a little bit more boy crazy.
You would.
And it was really freezing, that game. I mean, really freezing. And her parents took us to the game. So Margie said, well, let's go walk on the Charleston side, Columbia side, excuse me,
Uh-huh.
and see if there's anybody we see. I said, how can we see anybody? I don't know anybody. Well, we're walking down in front of the stands, and all of a sudden somebody comes running down the stands, and they call, Helene! And I was fainted. And there was this guy, Teddy or Eddie Frost. He lived in Columbia, and he had lived in Charleston.
Uh-huh.
And right behind him, because it was cold, so they were ready to leave, was Nat Russ.
Yeah.
Look, it was a little pudgy thing then, because he was, I think, 13,
Mhm.
14.
Oh, you were 13 and 14 at
I
this
was
time?
12 or 13.
This wasn't even in high school.
And then,
This was, y'all were
behind
really
him,
young.
behind him came Harold Klein with these black hair and floppy ears. And then behind him came this long scarecrow guy with long hands, big hands, and that was Melton Kligman.
Oh.
and with reddish hair. And then they came up to us and they said, "Where are y'all going?" So we said, "We're going to go back to the lobby of the house." I think it was on the corner of Sumter Street and Gervais Street.
Yeah.
I forgot the name.
It wasn't on Assembly in Gervais?
No.
It wasn't the old Columbia Hotel?
It was probably, whatever it was named.
Yeah.
It was on Sumter and Gervais.
Yeah.
Where the big hotel is.
It's not there anymore now.
No, it's a big building, office building.
Office building.
And so we all went in the lobby, we talked and kibitzed, and so Margie's parents came for us. And
y'all were 12 and 13 years old? That sounds awful young.
awful young, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I was very aggressive, even then.
And you were here visiting from Charleston.
I was visiting Margie in Barnwell in Charleston. Well, to make a long story short, I saw Melton had an identification bracelet on, and that was just a rage. So, in that first meeting, I asked if I could have his identification bracelet, and he said, "Oh no, this is my present for my mother and father, for my bar mitzvah." So he was just
bar mitzvah, right.
And I was 2 years younger. And we talked, and he said, and I left with the bracelet.
Let me see the bracelet, Daddy. Who's wearing the bracelet now?
Daddy's wearing the bracelet. Daddy.
You have it?
No,
No, you got it. You had it on that hand. It's right there.
All right, the bracelet to her
It's
is on this hand.
yeah. It
This
says
is-
Melton Kligman, and the back of it says Melton Kligman, 1945. I can't read the top of it.
1945.
Did you get the bracelet?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Daddy still wears it today.
Yeah. Well, it says Melton. Melton Kligman.
That's so cool.
And then on my other hand,
Put that back.
You have another identification
What do you
Put it
bracelet.
back.
is a girlfriend or something?
Yeah, it's from a girl.
That's so cute.
No.
I don't think, that's just amazing, Daddy, that you still wear that bracelet.
Yeah.
Well, what happened with the bracelet actually is
How come Mama's not wearing it?
This
Because
has got my
there's no
name on
diamonds
it.
in it, that's
I
why.
wore it for a long time, and then it came to a point that I already had grandchildren, and I asked the boys if they wanted to wear it, and they said no.
So you wore it up until you had grandchildren?
I had it.
You had it, yeah, I was
And
gonna say.
and this is 18 Graham Drive.
That tells you where you live.
Yeah.
That is his bracelet in case he
1944.
gets lost.
1944. That's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Alrighty. And
Well, so y'all had a wonderful, happy childhood. I mean, do you remember only happy times? Did you have bad times in your childhood?
sure we had bad times.
But it just sounds like those are the good old days
But
when you
mostly
were going to
it wasn't like kids
dances.
today. Not at all. We had good times. We had AZA dances, and Melton and I practically went to every one together. And then we have Thanksgiving dances, and Melton and I went to every one together.
So
And
how'd you get back and forth? The Greyhound bus, or you drove?
Well, I think we had a bus that went from Columbia to Charleston.
yeah,
Yeah.
they brought the kids back and forth to
And
different
we
conventions.
were all like 12, 13, 14, 15.
Now, Daddy, I know AZA was just a really major part
Yeah.
of your childhood when you were growing up.
Right.
Not only did you date Mom, but what else did you do in AZA?
Well, let's see. Yeah, that's right.
You were
Yeah,
involved in the debate
I was
team?
on the debate team for AZA.
Basketball.
Who else was on the debate team? Because I know you went all over.
Well, let's see, who else?
You traveled all over. I mean, like
But that was
Chicago.
college.
Oh, that was
He did
college.
college,
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah.
But he did with the AZA.
Well, yeah, I graduated from college, and I was on the college, South Carolina College
Debate team too.
debate team.
Right.
And we went on that debate team, of course, debated in Columbia.
Mhm.
And then we also debated in, I think, Charleston, and not sure of California.
I think you went to Chicago.
Yeah, I know we went to Chicago.
Because I remember reading something about Chicago.
Yeah, I know
while
we
you
went to
were-
Chicago. And then I think we debated in New York.
So you know what? You can almost go back to AZA and when you got involved in debate, and that's probably why you became interested in law, maybe.
Well, I think that influenced me.
That might have
In fact,
influenced.
speaking of debating, I gave this bracelet too, because nobody else
Oh, another
wanted it.
bracelet?
Yeah, gave this to Melissa, and I was
Mhm.
talking about Poppy's achievements, and she said, "Oh, I've got that bracelet." On this bracelet, the different trophies he won. This is from AZA, and this is also from AZA. This is 1950 to 51. Who's Who in America. This is ODK.
That's a
What's
is
ODK, a fraternity?
that's a fraternity, yeah.
Debate
That's a
fraternity.
debate
And
fraternity.
all of these are first places. Yep. And this was what?
And that was mostly from college?
If my eyes were bad, I could read it.
I can't see them.
1948.
Yeah.
And this one is Melton, Kligman, USC. This was a pretty one. This is Pi Kappa Alpha. This
And you
one,
still wear that every day, Mom?
after I got it back from Melissa, I told
How
her
did
I'll
Melissa
just
get a hold of that thing?
borrow. She mentioned that she had it, and so I asked if I could borrow it back, and she said yes. And this one is Kappa something.
Yeah,
And it's
it's a debate team.
doesn't have anything on the back.
That's funny.
And I think I covered them all. Let's see this
Well,
one.
when I was on the debating team
But what is this one?
from college.
It's not a
Not-
Delta. Okay.
I was on the debate team in college. I was in college, but then after college, I went to studying to be an attorney.
Uh-huh.
And so when you do all of that, you can do different things too. And I just, for some reason, I was like on the debate team and also on.
How about basketball? You played basketball in AZA and in college.
No basketball is easy.
And AZA, but I went after trying to be on the campus team,
You wanted to be a Gamecock.
Gamecock, but it was a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
And so I had
You
to
kept
do
the
that.
bench warm for the
Yeah.
Gamecocks.
But in the thing that I best did was in debating.
Yeah.
And we went really from New York, we went to New York to,
It was a good experience for
yeah,
you.
Do you remember who you debated, that your team was? Who was in your team? A Jewish guy? Harvey Golden?
Harvey Golden.
And wait a minute, what's the other guy? Kermit King,
Sherman King, that's right.
and I don't know any of the others. I don't know the names.
Do you remember your wedding? How old were
Uh,
you when you got married?
Huh?
How old were you? Oh, I know how old you were. Because I know how old Mom was. It's easy to remember Mama's age when she got married. You were 22?
20.
Because I remember,
22.
because Mom is
22.
easy, because every time we have a milestone, when you turn 50,
Mm.
you were married 30 years. So you were married when you were 20.
That's good.
That's easy. And you were married, what year, do you remember?
Oh, sure. 1951, August the 26th. And
That was the happiest day.
Do you
of
remember
my
your wedding?
life.
Do you remember your wedding? Tell me something about your wedding.
oh, we had a huge wedding.
And you, where'd you get
My in-laws
married?
invited everybody from Columbia, and we invited everybody from Charleston, and it was over 750 people
Oh
in the
my
synagogue
God.
and at the reception. We had
750 people?
people that met at our wedding that got married. Margie Goldstein was already married. No, I know she was, yes, I forgot. I don't remember whether she was married or not, but she was down there with Juicing. And if I can remember the other two couples, I would tell y'all.
Where'd you get married?
I think Stanley
Was it,
Kahn
did you
and
get married
Debbie
in the synagogue though?
got married in
Yeah.
a synagogue, and the pictures, we say, and the pictures of the people sitting in the synagogue that came to the wedding, the whole people on the road, everybody's gone. Nobody's living.
They're all must have been grandma's friends then.
Yeah.
Right.
And
They're all
we
your
did,
parents'
and we
friends.
didn't have dinner or anything. We had heavy hors d'oeuvres, and they had a band. It was just really nice, but 750 people.
How did they fit
Do not
in?
advise you to do that, Lisa.
Well, the synagogue was not what we see today. The synagogue was much smaller. in a different location.
They must have been peeking in the
And then
windows.
You could park your car in the front, park your car in the back, and you go in, and downstairs was a large area where they had food and reception hall. That's what it is. And that's
So
where
it
they
wasn't a
had-
hotel. You just went to
No,
the
no, that's
reception
right.
hall downstairs.
Oh, no.
I thought y'all got married in
We
the.
got married in synagogue,
Yeah.
and on a half a block away was a Francis Marion Hotel.
That's what I
And
thought.
that's where we had our huge
That's right.
reception.
That's right.
Did you take a honeymoon?
Did we take a honeymoon now?
Yeah, we took a honeymoon.
That was
Did you
August.
enjoy
So
it?
where'd y'all go in August?
Did you enjoy your honeymoon?
I absolutely did.
Where'd you go?
We went to the Concord. We
Up in New York.
drove up to New York.
That's
And
right.
probably visited my Aunt Sally for a couple of days. And then we went to the Concord Hotel. And it was wonderful there. You know, it's something you dream about. And in fact, about 15, 20 years later, we went back to the
And
Concord.
that was where it was on the ocean.
No, mountain, it was a mountain.
It's mountains.
That was in the mountains.
Yeah, in the mountains. And when we got to that, we said, no, this is not the same hotel we were at. 'Cause you know how glamorous it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Gorgeous. Well, the first thing, we just looked completely different and et cetera, and et cetera. And we went on the scene with Harry and Shirley leaving.
Oh my gosh.
They're both gone now, too.
Oh my goodness. And then you had your first
Well,
child.
Well, when we were
Lisa.
out there,
Oh, you wait a minute. You're back at your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
finish your honeymoon.
But it was, as I remember, we were on the ocean front too.
No, Mel.
That was probably another trip.
Yeah.
That was another trip.
Oh, yeah, that was another
Yeah,
trip.
do you remember this guy who was a big comedian, Sam Levinson?
Yeah.
He was on that trip. He was there the whole time we were there,
Mhm.
and he thought we were brothers and sisters.
Why? Y'all weren't lovey-dovey?
Well, we,
Daddy's so affectionate.
Well, she was too.
Well, that's true.
I
Mom
mean,
and
she
you were.
is.
She.
You was. She is.
That's right.
Y'all are both so affectionate. I can't imagine that being y'all brother and sister. Y'all are always holding hands. So then Lisa was born. Let's see. Y'all were married how many years until Lisa was born? It was
3.
3 years.
I thought I'd never have a child.
Where did you live when Lisa was born?
Oh.
Back in Columbia?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I lived in Columbia.
Yeah.
Was Daddy in law school or he was in college?
Let me see. No, he was out of law school.
Out of law
Man.
school.
Yeah, because he was out of law school. He graduated the first year we got married.
Okay.
And 52, I believe. And Lisa was born in 53. I think she was born in 54, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
she'll be 50.
I think
She's 51 now.
Mhm. Well, she was my in-laws. That was their pride and joy. My God, the world, the sun shined on them when Lisa was born. And they really loved her. They used to come to my house every single solitary day just to be with her.
And y'all lived on what, South Bull or Kilburn or
we
where'd y'all live?
moved when she was born on South Bull Street.
Where did Grandma and Grandpa live? On South Bull too?
They lived on South Bull, but wait a second. Let me think about this. This is interesting. South Bull, we moved over to
Across the street.
right now to
I know you lived on Kilburn though. When did you live on Kilburn? When Daddy was in,
We lived on Kligman for a year.
before Lisa was born.
While he was still in school.
Right. And you lived with Daddy's parents on
Parents,
Kilburn.
uh-huh.
And then you moved to South Bull when Lisa was
Yeah.
born. And then you really didn't move to Wofford.
No. We lived in the Edisto apartments after moving from his parents' house.
Oh,
And a
okay.
lot of Jewish people lived in Edisto apartments.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
We're still friendly with them. Some of them are still alive.
Wow.
A lot of them are gone. And then we moved to South Bull.
How long did y'all live at South Bull? Was
5
Mindy born
years.
there?
5 years.
The other apartment still there?
Huh?
Are the other apartments still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
are. Was I born in South Bull?
No, you were born on Walford Street.
Okay.
Mindy and Lisa were born
On South Bull. So then Mindy came 2 years later.
That reminds me, I'm thinking of something. I was I went out to play cards one night at the Jewish Community Center, with one of my friends. And I left Melton home with the kids and Lisa and
Where was this, on South Bull or
on
Wofford?
South Bull.
Okay.
And he calls me up. He says, "You gotta come home." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Just everybody's thrown up all over the place." So I remember that. He was rushing home, and he had everything under control.
Was Daddy a real hands-on daddy? A new daddy?
Oh, yeah.
He was?
Oh, yeah.
Changed diapers?
Yeah, he did all of that. But sometimes he went to meetings about 3 or 5 times a week.
Even at that early age? And that young?
Yeah, he
when
was
we were
always
babies?
I always went to meetings.
Always involved.
Where was the center then? Was it on Trenton? No, it wasn't on Trenton. Y'all didn't have a center then.
The center started somewhere.
Yeah, because Trenton didn't start until 59.
Yeah, but center sometimes started at
58 over here on Trenton.
down at the.
Well, they didn't have a center before that.
Well, no, I know.
They were on Center Street, wasn't it?
No, I think maybe
Whatever it was, Melton, it probably started in the synagogue basement.
Were you really
Yeah,
involved
that's right,
in the
it was.
synagogue?
It was
We
the
used to go to
synagogue.
meetings down there.
Synagogue basement.
Where was the synagogue then?
It was
Marion
Marion
Street.
It was on
when
Marion.
you walk in, the women went upstairs.
On Marion Street? Yeah.
And, hold on, went upstairs. But also, later on, if you can look at it, seeing the ark and walking down, and on the left-hand side, they had a place for the women.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
I was bat mitzvahed in that synagogue.
The front part was all men, and the right part was all
And then upstairs.
men, and then in the front on the left were the women. And
That
upstairs.
sounds a lot like the synagogue where Mom was brought up in Charleston, the Orthodox synagogue.
That's right.
So
The
when
one
we
that
were
got married in on St. Philip Street. St. Philip Street was the mainstay of our lives.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't even know the St. Philip Street synagogue.
Oh, yeah.
I just know the Rutledge
it's
Avenue.
gone.
Yeah,
It's
to me.
gone.
When we were babies, did y'all take a lot of trips?
Did we personally, the two of us?
Yeah, did y'all go to the beach? Did Grandma have her beach house then?
Yeah. Yeah, y'all grew up at the beach in the summertime.
Okay, so
We
then
always
we moved.
went to the
We
beach.
moved to Wofford when I
We
was
stayed at the
born,
beach forever. I mean, every summer.
and then that's when we started going to the beach every summer.
Uh-huh.
And we go from what? Memorial Day to Labor Day. We go the whole summer.
Well, you'd go.
We go like we do
It
now.
was rented. I think most of the time it was rented, and
Grandma used to rent
June
it?
and it was rented, and
Yeah, but Daddy, this is when Grandma lived there. She didn't rent it.
Yeah, we rented it.
She did rent it?
From September to May.
That's right.
She did have to.
And my daddy used to go there to collect rent,
Really?
and he came in the house one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know who was there or who was not there, but there was a baby crying.
Uh-huh.
This is a true story. And he went to see what was going on, and the baby had a messy diaper. And he went and changed that baby's diaper, picked it up, and then I guess somebody finally came home.
Grandpa Joe did that?
I never forget that
He
story.
probably never changed one of your diapers.
Oh, I don't remember, but he was a great dad. He was very loving and very affectionate. My daddy was.
Your dad was?
My mother was a little bit more aloof.
Yeah.
In fact, oh gosh,
Because your father passed away at a
57.
young age.
In fact, Mama was so aloof that I remember that Jolie,
Mm-hmm.
she must have said something or taught my mother. She said, "Grandma, you have to hug harder than you do." And from that point, my mother hugged hard.
Because one of her
She
grandchildren
really
said
loved
it?
you. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, because I remember Daddy's parents, mother wasn't as affectionate as Grandpa
No.
was. Grandpa was affectionate, but and I think it was the same
She
with
was
your mom.
quiet. She was very quiet.
Yeah, Grandma was quiet. Yeah, I remember them when they were on South Bull.
Can you take a pause? I'd like to see what we're doing.
You want me to pause? All right, so you liked it the way it looked?
Yeah,
Looked okay
it
to
looked
you?
really good. I'm surprised it was. We looked nice.
And I'm glad that I can
And
hear you
now-
because I was worried more about y'all
And
talking.
Heidi is doing such a great job taking pictures of us and asking us all these questions. And like I told her before we started, I said, I don't know how we were so lucky for God to give us such a daughter like Heidi, who's really helping us so much with our lives. Lisa is just, I don't know how they gave us Lisa, she's just been so wonderful. Mindy is just the joy of our lives. I can't believe that Mindy has changed so much the way she's changed. She went from conservative to
Exorbitant.
Exorbitant. And Kayla, naturally, she was our baby, and she was the most precious thing in this world. I remember taking walks with her every day for miles. And then one day she wouldn't do it anymore, and I lost my friend. And then naturally, Joey came.
Then Joey came around.
And then Joey came around.
And then, yeah, right, Daddy. After 4 girls, what was that like?
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And the whole town, that's right, what was it like?
Wonderful.
The whole town was so excited for us that we had a bris for Joey that encompassed the entire synagogue. We had the family and best friends over for lunch at 12 or 1 o'clock. And around 3 o'clock, we had dessert for everybody in the community that wanted to come. They all got invitations.
Wow, that was some
That
event.
was- I think that was down in the
In
below level of the synagogue.
No, it was here in this house now.
In this house? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was because it was a week after Joey was born.
Remember, I was dressed in a really pretty lacy nightgown, and I stayed on the bed with these lacy, fancy sheets, satin, gold satin sheets, and I hardly got out of the bed.
I remember
Today, the mamas go, they're
it. I
already
remember it.
doing everything.
I was 10. I remember it. I do. So that once Joey was born, then we started really taking some trips.
Uh-huh.
I remember trips.
But we didn't take Joey too much.
No, because
He was
Joey
always
was 10
too
years
young.
younger than us, me, and so
Where'd we go?
well, first of all, we went to the beach,
Yeah.
and then you bought a lake house, and we did a
Absolutely.
lot of, what did we do at the lake house?
Well, let's see, what we did was we had it was a lake house that I bought.
Yeah,
Right,
you and Harvey built it.
that's right. I don't know whether we built it or not.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
we
you
You
did.
built it.
We
You built
it
a
as a
duplex.
Yeah, duplex, and
then-
Harvey had one side and I had one side, and we really did, during that period of time of our lives,
That's
we
right.
really thought.
That was a
enjoyed
wonderful
it.
time.
And we had
Pontoon boat.
pontoon boats, and then we had, somebody had a motorboat that we used, and they borrowed or something, and we used that, and the wonderful part about it is that we still have the lake house, and I'm still gonna keep that no matter what.
Good. I think you
And
should. It's a beautiful property.
I can't ever replace that, and it has a place that you can walk from the house across the bridge, not the bridge,
The dock.
the dock, and I don't know whether, we built the dock, but that's been there for about 15, 20 years.
How about 30?
Oh, at least.
35 years, and I tell you, we walked that dock last year, and it was solid, you could walk it, and it was nice, and I'm not gonna
It's beautiful.
ever give that
Do you remember,
dock up. I'm gonna give it
You
to
remember
Joey one day.
do you remember?
Maybe. We'll see. I have good plans for it, too.
Okay.
Do you remember
Maybe, I
that
don't
big
know.
old porch? That's what we lived on, the
Yeah.
porch, because the house was like.
Yeah, I remember going out for Mother's Day. Or was it every year?
Father's Day.
And Father's
And we
Day.
used to invite friends over, and we'd have people come over all the time and
Yep.
have
Floating that lake.
real easy party, dinners, etc. And that's it.
So you remember going to the mountain house? You remember a mountain house?
Yeah, we had a little.
You bought a house up in the mountains?
Yeah.
Well, 1, 2, 3, we saw that Ivan Gottlieb took us up to the Lake Lure,
Right,
and the place was called Fairfield.
that's right.
And
I can
1,
remember
2,
that.
3,
It was up
Y'all-
on the
y'all
hill
go
a
and play
little bit
golf.
On the left as you walk toward it. And there was a big, they had one place down at the end, it was like a store or something.
Like a clubhouse.
The clubhouse, that's it.
Mhm.
And then on the
And it was
left-
on a lake, too, wasn't it? There was a lake near the clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
And-
right.
and
I
then
remember that.
If you stand there and look at where the clubhouse is, there were then houses up on the left-hand side, up on the hill, and we had a house up on
Like a
the
condominium.
condominium.
Yeah.
How we bought it was that first day, and they showed you 4 plans:
Uh-huh.
contemporary, traditional, normal, da-da-da. In 5 seconds, we picked out the contemporary.
Did it have furniture and everything?
No, I'm telling you. They get these selections. We picked out the contemporary one that had all the colors that we liked. It was didn't have to change because that's how it came.
Uh-huh.
And you either bought it this way, that way, or the other way. And it was cute. It
And,
really
and
was.
how long did you have it? You had it for quite a while.
Let's think about it. But I used to go up there a lot with just my friends, and we used to play cards, canasta.
Is that when you used to play golf? Did you play golf?
Uh-huh. We played golf.
Because I remember you and Daddy took a lot of golf vacations.
Yeah, we used to fade on. And we enjoyed it. We really enjoyed every place, but then we got to the point we didn't feel like going there anymore.
We still got the lake house.
We got the
But you sold the mountain
We
house.
sold
We sold them out.
So, Daddy, you must have been very successful in your law practice.
Yeah, I
You had a lake house,
Yeah.
mountain house. You go to
Who said it was his success?
you go to Mama's beach house. Mama had the good life,
Yeah.
huh? Do you remember what were some of your favorite vacations?
Favorite
Yeah.
vacation? Well, we went to New York one time. Not twice.
We've been to New York several
times, yeah.
That was your favorite vacation?
No, I don't think that was his favorite.
You went to Las
I
Vegas.
think
Went to
Las
Europe?
Vegas was very nice. In fact, we went there a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was very nice.
That's when they used to give you trips on
The junkets. and
the
stuff.
junkets. I forgot the guy's name already.
And then
How about-
It was not
How about Greece?
Greece,
well, we went to Greece, and then
and we went to Israel after that with that trip.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know the trip that I think about, and I just thought about when you said what was our favorite trip? Our very first big trip that we went to Nassau. Don't ask me what year
As
it
a
was.
couple or as a family?
With Faye and Arnold, and Melton and I. They're probably one of their first trips too. And we were so skinny, Faye and I. Good God. And I guess Arnold was too. And it was just so, it was so unique being that far away from
Is that the
home.
one that was up in the mountains?
That was we went to Nassau
That was on the ocean.
and the
Ocean.
ocean.
That was the one you were talking about earlier on the ocean that you loved.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. And you came home with those
Big old
pocketbooks and
hats.
hats.
And the big old dolls, the straw
And the
dolls.
straw doll. Oh, yes, I remember.
Those were the good days. We still have good days, so that's the best thing.
Oh, gee, I thought you were going to just say your favorite vacation was your last week in Hilton Head with all of us.
Oh, that was.
That was a good
Mountains.
trip. That was a good
Mountains.
trip.
That he loved that trip.
That was
That
a...
he loved that week last week. Everything is our best vacation,
Well, that
Yeah.
was down in Florida?
That
I'll
was,
tell you what my
Was
worst,
that down in
that was in
Florida?
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head. That's right, Hilton
I
Head.
think one of my worst vacations were we went on a B'nai B'rith convention to Israel.
Mhm.
And Melton was at meetings all the time. And
Yeah.
all I did was just walk from up and down the street, walk the beach by myself, walked up and down the street. I think Barbara and Frank brought with me a little bit.
Mhm.
That really was a good trip.
Well, that's... Got to have bad ones to go along with the good ones. And now, was it Kendall? Kendall wanted me to ask you, Daddy, do you remember your first car? What were cars like back when you first got your car?
My first car?
Yeah, what color was it? She said. She says, what was the first color car Poppy had?
Oh,
I think,
oh, wait a second. I had a,
and I was going to say, I think
Small
you
car.
gave
I
Kendall
have
and Carly their red hair, by the way. Mom said something about red hair, and that's what dawned on me.
I had a small car,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a top on it, that
Uh-huh.
came on and off. Right?
You had a convertible?
Convertible.
In his dreams.
I did have a convertible.
Well, I didn't ride in it.
I did have a convertible.
I never rode
Or
it.
was that car, and I never wanted to get rid of it, and you made me sell it.
Oh, he's talking about the Mercedes-Benz.
That's right.
His
Oh,
little gold
He was
car.
already married several years by then.
Yeah.
Heidi wanted to know, what was your first car when you were a 16-year-old boy. Now let's try that one.
Like when you got your first car, did you drive to Charleston to go see Mom?
No, I don't think I went when I was 16,
17?
maybe 17.
Yeah, okay.
You
That's a
did.
long time ago.
He was
That's
there when
that's
he
hard
was-
to figure out what
he
your
was
first
there when
car
he
was.
was 16.
I can hardly remember my first car, but I do.
He was there. Yours was a Dodge Dart.
No, well, mine was a Dodge Dart. That was my hand-me-down car, from
Right,
Grandpa.
that-
My very first car was that Corolla. It was kind of a maroon Corolla.
Yeah, but you bought that
Toyota.
yourself.
Yeah, that's it. That was my real first car.
All the girls drove that Dodge Dart, which
Mhm.
belonged to my father-in-law. Lisa,
That was a great car. It was a
Mindy?
push-button car.
No.
Heidi, and I don't
No,
think
Kayla didn't. Kayla got the Monte Carlo, I
whatever
think.
it was. I don't think that either.
Well, the car that I had, I never really wanted to give it up forever. And for some reason, we sold it.
Well, that's what happens when your cars get old.
I want you to tell me right now what car you had, forget the Mercedes that we sold, what car you had when your parents bought you a car as a young boy? Or did you use
Do you remember it,
family
Mama?
car?
It was a family
I
car.
think you used a
Yeah,
family.
I would think so too.
Yeah, I think I used a family car.
It was a
Did
big
you
old
have a
thing.
pet? Did you have any animals when you were
Yeah.
growing up? You did?
Mhm.
You mean Grandma Ida let you have an animal in her house?
Well, let me see. We did have an animal.
Who's we?
Me?
Mom, did you have any pets?
Heck no.
Yeah, you did. I don't
I
think you
had,
did.
I had an animal.
What was your first pet? Well, when you had children, we had a pet. What was our pet? Do you remember? We had dogs.
Yeah, a small dog.
That's what he's talking about.
I think that's who you're
I
talking
don't think he had a pet when he was
Yeah.
living
Small
with his
dog lived
parents.
in the back.
Yeah. We had
Not
Bubba.
here, Not in this room.
Freckles and Boobala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was it located?
This house.
This house?
I don't think I had a pet until we got to this house. And right now
Right on
we're
the back as I can see it.
yeah, and you're living on what, Graham Drive still
Right.
since Kayla was born.
It's 40 years.
40 years. Over 40 years now. You've been in this
And
house.
he lived in this house.
It's a wonderful house.
It's beautiful.
That's the truth. Kayla's birthday's coming up.
February. Yep.
Woo.
Yep. It's a great house. Well, do you we really didn't talk much about your parents. Do you know how your parents got, or your fathers got from Europe, Eastern Europe to to America?
Well, let's see. My father.
Did they come like
Yeah, he came.
as children? Did they come as adults?
No, his sister was on Assembly Street, wasn't it? Wasn't she?
Well, which one?
But was she already here and he was still in
No,
Poland?
No, she was here, I think.
How about both of them, Clara and Esther?
Yeah, Clara and Esther. Clara had a
Grocery store.
grocery store.
Yeah, but was she already here and
Yeah.
Grandpa was still in
I
Poland?
think so.
So they sent for him?
Yeah. And then Esther
Had a shoe store.
had a shoe store.
Mm-hmm.
And then my father had a military store. And this was right in right after the start of the First World War.
So how old
Second World
how
War.
old was
Second World
Grandpa
War.
when he
Second
moved
World
to America then? Because he must have been
He was, I guess he was in his 29s.
okay. And then he
Met Ida and they got married.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he opened up a store pretty quick. Do you know how your father moved
Yeah,
to
well,
America, Mom?
My father came on my boat when he was 11 or 12 by himself.
By himself?
By himself. I don't know whether they had family here or
Uh-huh.
what, but he came by himself, and then his family came later.
Go to New York,
Mm.
went to New York.
I really couldn't tell you what he
It must have been a-
landed. He landed probably in New York, and then they found some relative had told him to come here or there, and that's where he went.
It must have been an incredible networking back then
Must
to
have
get
been.
people together,
You
a
know,
Jewish network.
we
Because
really don't know a whole lot. They didn't talk about it. We didn't ask questions about their lives and etc.
Well, didn't we, when we were in New York one time, and, we met some people who really were somewhat
well, you met
relatives?
Harry and Sally, and that was Grandma's.
Well, those were our close relatives. I don't know.
What was that? Grandma, or Grandpa's?
Sally.
Sally.
My father's.
Yeah, it was Grandpa's sister. That's right.
Because I remember we were somewhere up in the mountains.
Every one of those people are going, all the fire attacks are going.
Yeah, we were somewhere up in the mountains or else in the...
I tell you, I
I
wish I lived the same life that Melton lived.
Off the ocean. I remember
Off
being...
the mountain, off the ocean.
Well, I remember I was... there was...
Daddy, do you remember, not to change the subject, but do you remember when you started these big 4th of July weeks with the Slovises and the Merlins?
Daddy wouldn't remember that.
It's really all Mom's family.
Right. They used to come to our house every 4th of July at Sylvia.
You mean your beach house?
Yeah, beach house. At Sylvia.
I mean 20, 30 years?
Her young children, which was Nita, Norman, and Myrna. And we came there, and we all stayed together in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
And then, eventually, after many, many years, they got married. And they came with their husbands, and we had 18 people in our house sleeping. And then eventually they started having children.
Yeah.
And they stayed in our house. And after their children had children, we made them an ultimatum. You have to get your own house or we can't get together a day. So we just still do. I don't know how long it's been. Let's say Nita was a baby.
Yeah, at least 30 years because...
Nita's older than 30 years
Well, I'm
old.
talking about, well, yeah, when Nita was a baby, but I'm
Right.
talking about their children are in their 30s.
Right.
So that was before...
Forever.
Yeah, it's been over 30 years. Wonderful tradition.
Your father bought the house at the beach.
My daddy bought the house at the
But
beach.
Did he build the house?
It was another house
Yeah.
than what you had.
He bought a little house
Yeah.
sitting right on the street, and it's very similar to one we have now. Only we added onto it, lifted it up, put it in the middle of the lot.
It was
added a great-
right on the street.
Right.
Yeah, and they moved it back.
And then we added a great big huge porch around,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And then we added more house in the back. But it's the same little house inside, especially upstairs. We paid, I think, $8,000 for the house.
Mm,
And for years, we could not even sell it for $8,000.
unbelievable.
That's how different times
Mhm.
are.
Well,
Well, do you remember some of the bigger hurricanes that came through Charleston and Columbia?
I can't remember the name, but
that's the only I remember
the
is
name is
Hugo, yeah.
That was a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
one. But
Did
we
you have a
had
lot of-
several before that.
Did you have a lot of damage on any of the hurricanes?
But that was not my problem. My daddy took care of that.
But you didn't have that much damage on Hugo.
But Hugo-
You got lucky.
I mean, we took it from my parents. When my daddy passed away, my mother had the house. Melton and I were the upkeep of the house. The house would not be there. We did everything.
The greatest interview. Y'all are so relaxed.
Well, I'm glad you think so, because we really are relaxed. But you know, it's easy to be relaxed when you're on both such good medicines, Melton and I. And I think all of my daughters are on some good medicines too. They couldn't be so happy-go-lucky like they are.
Well, I'm not.
I don't
I'm
believe-
happy-go-lucky and I'm not on any
I don't
medicine.
believe you.
well, I tell you, I don't know where we left off, but I think I want to be sure that I had to comment and just praise our 4 daughters.
You did that.
No,
That's all right, do it now.
No, what really, we've had a really nice interview. There's so many things we could talk about because we haven't talked about family holidays at the house and all the celebrations and the Thanksgivings, but you know, we all know that happened. Those are the things that's part of everyone's life, and those are wonderful things we'll all remember. We all shared with you. But really what I want to ask you is what message do you want to leave as your legacy? What message do you want to leave your future generations of little Kligmans?
Little Kligmans.
Or little Odels or Shecklers or Lovitts or
Well, this is...
Harveys.
That includes boys and girls.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we're all blessed that God willing and God grant us continues that we are all here, thank goodness, and we have from growing up, from babies to children, to grandchildren, to other grandchildren, and mostly girls, and we're blessed with, what, one boy?
One boy.
One boy.
4 girls.
And 4 girls. And then, of course, the 4 girls have their own boys and girls, each one of them, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So how many?
We have 9 granddaughters.
We have 9 granddaughters.
And 2 grandsons.
9 granddaughters from our 4 daughters. And we have, what's the other?
2 boys.
2 boys.
From Heidi and Lisa.
From Heidi and Lisa. And Joey is the son, the only son, and the only boy. And now, God willing, he's got a girlfriend. I know if all things stay like they are, he's going to marry that girl, and he's going to have children, and we're looking forward to that.
That's so
blessing,
cute, Daddy.
that
It's
blessing,
on tape, remember now.
That blessing that will take place, and we look forward to it. I tell you, Joey had, during his early times, he was very temperamental, and he was very challenging, and he tried to do a lot of good things, and he did a lot of good things. And since he's grown up more, he's taken into more blessings and good things, and he is really a mensch to be praised. So we're very fortunate that all of that took part, and we just, God bless them all.
It's beautiful, Daddy.
Well, Daddy says it means that all from his heart, and he really means it. Also, that we're really so fortunate that we do have such 5 wonderful, loving children and 11 loving grandchildren. We're very blessed, very lucky, and thank you up there, God.
Somebody's been watching over you.
I tell you, Melton's talking about this Joey and Vanessa. It really is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen all of y'all moon and groove and all of y'all boy husbands. But the only thing I have to add to this is, through all of our marriage, we've had good times, we've had bad times, and we've worked through them. Sometimes we didn't work through them so good, but remember that no matter what, no matter how big or small problems are, you will work through it if you have a great marriage, and you should have one, because all of y'all have wonderful husbands. I love all my son-in-laws to pieces. But after 40 years, guess what? It just all goes away. Everything is peaceful and quiet and loving. And I just want y'all to know to look forward to that. You'll always have love, no matter when, until the very end.
That's a wonderful ending. It's a wonderful thing to say. And
I can't get rid of this man.
Daddy, we should all have as wonderful and loving husbands as you have been to Mom, because you are the most attentive of really the most attentive. And we
not
all
only loving from the day we were married. I tell you, it's always from him. What can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Now that we don't have quite with all of our husbands. We have.
And no, that's why he's so special.
That's right.
He's never ever denied. Listen to this, guys. He's never ever denied me anything, no matter what it was. That cute, beautiful, beautiful fur coat that cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and this diamond ring. No matter what it was, whether it was a dress, food, anything, he always wanted to give it to me.
You've had a great life, a really great life,
yeah,
both of you.
And as my yard
We
man,
got a lot to live for.
That's right. That's right.
as my yard man John says, we've been blessed.
You've been blessed.
We've been blessed.
Well, thank you for indulging me in this hour interview of your past and some thoughts on your future. And I love you. And
next
that's
time
it.
you want to go back to
That's
our
it.
lives, just call us. We've got a lot more to say.
We'll be back. We'll be back.